January week 2 featuring Lauren in the new year. Take one.
Happy January! Hope you had a great New Year celebration and holiday season. And now we're almost in the middle of January. I am so excited for today because we get to talk about an intense story. I will get to that in a moment, but first, I would love to know, what is your favorite dessert of all time? If you could only have one dessert the rest of your life, you would be completely satisfied with this one thing. Would it be donuts, cake, cookies, pie, candy? Or if you're like me, there's one thing you cannot live without. Have you guessed it? It's something that was not in the list I just mentioned. It's broccoli! Just kidding. It is ice cream, my fave. We all know that with dessert comes certain responsibility. Responsibility is showing you can be trusted with what is expected of you. What am I talking about with responsibility and dessert? Well, I'm talking about the responsibility to eat only a little bit, or the responsibility to be balanced in our eating first. Maybe we do need to have a little broccoli. Maybe even the responsibility to share our dessert with others. But what if we threw responsibility out the window? What would happen? Well, I brought some ice cream today, and I'm going to do what I want and try not to be responsible. Okay, this ice cream looks so good, but I think it's missing something. I always love to have some chocolate sauce with my ice cream. Doesn't that sound good? I need to text someone to bring me some chocolate sauce. Hold on one second. Please bring me some chocolate sauce ASAP. Okay, while I'm waiting to put the finishing touches on my ice cream, I've got a big story for you today. It's actually a story that Jesus told. While Jesus walked on this earth, crowds followed him everywhere he went. Some followed Jesus to hear his teaching. Others came hoping he would heal their sickness. Others followed Jesus just to keep an eye on him. One day, a man in the crowd spoke up. We are going to read what happened from the gospel written by Luke, who was a doctor. This man in the crowd talks to Jesus and says, "Teacher," he said, "tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." This man wanted more for himself. He asked Jesus to help him get what he wanted. He asked for half of his inheritance. An inheritance is usually property and money that gets divided up among family members after parents or grandparents pass away. So this man wanted his portion, aka he wanted his money right now, and he figured Jesus could help him get it. But Jesus said, "Man, who appointed me a judge or arbiter between you?" Then he said to them, "Watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions." Oh, hey, look, my chocolate sauce arrives. All right. Woohoo! I'm going to add this to my ice cream. Whoop! Got some on all my bowls because I need to have plenty. That looks amazing. Okay, now I want more. You guys, I'm gonna ask someone to bring me some sprinkles. Okay, let me text them. Hey, can you also please bring me some sprinkles right now? Thank you. Okay, where were we? Oh yes, Jesus had just told this man, be on your guard. Watch out for things that make you want more. Things that make you greedy, because life is so much more than having all the things. So to make sure the man in the crowd of people really understood what he meant, Jesus then told a story called a parable. Often Jesus told parables to help people understand an important truth. So parables are simply stories about everyday objects and familiar situations. Jesus' stories were super easy to remember, and they made people think for themselves and understand things about God and life. And the story goes like this.
A rich man had a fertile farm that produced fine crops. He said to himself, "What should I do? I don't have room for all my crops."
I got it.
Then he said, "I know. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones. Then I'll have room enough to store all my wheat and other goods. and I'll sit back and say to myself, my friend, you have enough stored away for years to come. Now take it easy. Eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, you fool, you will die this very night.
Wait, what?
Then who will get everything you worked for?
So the rich man had so much grain. You all know what grain is for, right? We use grain to make things like cereal, bread, pasta, tortillas. One year, this man's land grew a lot of grain. I'm talking more grain than you've ever seen in your whole life. Having this much grain would be like owning 100 nice cars. He was rich. The crazy thing is he didn't do anything to become rich. Rather, God provided the sun, God provided the rain, the water, and God made the grain grow. See, because of God, he was rich. Then the rich man thought to himself, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. God had given the rich man so much that he didn't have enough space for it all. So he said, this is what I'll do. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus grain in them. That's right, the rich man planned to build multiple barns. He was like, who needs just one when you can have 3? And he decided to keep all his extra grain in barns and have enough for himself for years to come. He wouldn't have to work anymore. Then he could say to himself, take life easy. Eat, drink, and have a good time. Yay, my sprinkles have arrived. Just in time. All right, I'm gonna put some sprinkles on, a little bit of colorful action. Oh, these are chunky. So fun. Oh, so pretty. Oh man, I forgot one last thing. I love peanut butter cups on my ice cream. It's my favorite candy. Then I would have my favorite dessert and my favorite candy, all the things. I don't know if I can wait much longer, but I'm going to text in one last favor. Hold on. Hey, can I please also have some peanut butter cups? Last one, I promise. Thank you. Okay. I can't wait. Then my 3 full bowls will be ready for the eating. Back to our rich man. He had a plan for a very easy life. He figured he'd have everything he ever needed. He chose to just enjoy and not really be responsible with all the extra that God had given him. He didn't consider if there were people living nearby who didn't have enough to eat. He didn't consider sharing what he had. He just wanted what he wanted. Let's see what God had to say about it. But God said to him, you fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves but is not rich toward God. God actually said that very night the rich man was going to die. And when you die, you don't get to take any of your stuff with you. Oh my goodness, you guys, the last thing has arrived, my peanut butter cups. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to put these on, but oh no, my ice cream. I was so excited about having the possibility of all 3 bowls, and then it's like drippy. Oh, it's melted. Oh, I'm so disappointed. And now that I'm thinking about it, the rich man wanted more barns to put all his stuff in. I wanted to eat the ice cream myself and not share. Just like the rich man wanted to keep the wealth for himself, not sharing or giving any of it away. And me keeping all this ice cream for myself with more and more toppings. The rich man wanted bigger and bigger barns. If I would have just been responsible and had 1 bowl of ice cream without all the extras, I think I would have been satisfied. But now I don't even want this melted mess. Gross. This is a tough lesson for me today and for the rich man. God had given the rich man an amazing gift, and he gave me a gift with my ice cream. He had given the man way more than he needed. He was greedy. He kept it all to himself. Because of his decision, when the rich man died, he couldn't enjoy the gift God gave him. That's how Jesus ended the story. What a sad ending, right? I wonder if things could have been better for the rich man if he'd made a more responsible decision. This part isn't in the Bible, but I wonder what it might have looked like if the man had chosen to use his stuff differently. What if he thought to himself, so, this is what I'll do. I'll throw a picnic with tons of food and invite all my friends. Not only will I share with my friends, I'll share with others in need. I think his life would have ended much differently. Being gracious and responsible actually brings us happiness, and greed brings loneliness. I want to give us a challenge. When you're young, you have the opportunity to be responsible at home and at school. Then as you get older, you get more and more responsibilities. That's why it's so important to learn how to be trusted with what is expected of you now, so you can be responsible even more when you're older. This is what our Bible verse is all about. It says, suppose you can be trusted with something very little. Then you can also be trusted with something very large. Luke 16:10. What do you have today that might seem little that you can share? Number one, write down what you have that you can share with others. For me, I like to clean things out and get organized. That is a gift and a responsibility God gave me. I can write things down that I no longer need and that I can share with others. And now is the perfect time because we just celebrated Christmas and sometimes we get new gifts, and therefore it's time to get rid of some of the things we don't need any longer, like toys, games, other things, and maybe give them away. Or what about food and snacks? I love to bake, so I can share that with others. And of course, I need to learn to share my ice cream for sure. After you write down what you have that you can share or give away, number two, write down names of friends or others that you can share with. Think about your friends that are close to you, that you can maybe drop something by their house. If you can't think of any names specifically, write down things like those who don't have toys. You know, our church helps kids and families in Corona who have needs. And lastly, after you have your list of what you can share, some people you can share it with, number three, go and share. That's right. Ask your parents, your grandparents, or an older sibling to help you make this happen. This is our bottom line today too. Share what you have. Remember at the very beginning of the story, there was that man who first asked Jesus to help him get his inheritance. We actually don't know how he reacted after he heard Jesus' story. Maybe he stopped worrying about getting his family's money. Maybe he thought more about sharing what he did have with his brother. No matter what he did, we can learn from what Jesus taught that day. We can choose to be generous with the things God has given us, and we will be trusted with more the more we share. I know I'm going to share my ice cream next time and not keep it to myself. Let's pray and ask God to help us do that. God, thank you so much for your word. Thank you for Jesus and his stories. I pray that we would learn about sharing with others and being responsible with what you have given us. We ask that you'd help us have an attitude of gratitude and to be more like Jesus. In your name, amen. I'm so glad you helped me today with not being selfish about this dessert and how to share it with others. You want some? That's right. If you want to remember this message and share it with someone to help them, simply like this video and subscribe to our channel and then pass it along. And we always hope to see you Wednesday night or Sunday morning here at Crossroads.